Yo, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another episode of What's It Saying. And this time we are talking about Uncharted 4 multiplayer, or the multiplayer beta to be precise, because the game of course doesn't come out till next year, so we're just talking about the beta. Now I had a chance earlier this week to go to PlayStation's London headquarters and go hands-on with the beta just before it went live, and I got a chance to play it for a good portion of the day, testing out the weapons, the mysticals, some of the new abilities, and of course also the different maps, and played a lot of Team Deathmatch. So I've had a lot of time with the game, and I figured that was a good opportunity for me to do another What's It Saying. For those of you guys that haven't seen the last one, What's It Saying is like a new series I started where I can basically talk to you guys about my impressions. This isn't like a formal review, this is basically just me saying this is what I think about the game and this is what you need to know. So just before I get into my actual impressions, let's give you a quick overview of what the beta will actually include. There are 2 maps, 1 mode, and there are a wide range of weapons, abilities, perks, etc. and whatnot. The game mode itself is Team Deathmatch, so of course, kill the enemy, get the most points, win the game, job done. As for the maps, I forget the official names, but there is one which is set in sort of like a town, and one which is set in a jungle. And if you've played Uncharted's multiplayer before, then you'll feel pretty at home with this, but there are of course some new systems in place, and that is something I want to talk about. I had a lot of fun playing Uncharted 4's multiplayer. Now I know that some people expressed some concerns when they actually dropped the first trailer, when they sort of showed some gameplay, and they had all these mysticals in, like the totem that appears and starts killing people, and then you drop in all the sidekicks, and they basically like one-shot people with snipers, or mow them down with machine guns, and people were asking, you know, is it suddenly going to become super gimmicky, super unbalanced and stuff? But in actual fact, it works really, really well, and you'd be surprised you don't actually see those perks or those kind of abilities or the sidekicks or the mysticals that often. So the way it works is as follows. As you kill people throughout the game modes, you accrue currency, and you can also find treasures dotted around the world, and when you pick them up, they give you large amounts of currency. That currency is then used to buy these perks in-game. So you basically tap the middle button, bring up your wheel, and you have 4 different options depending on your loadout. So when you start, before you can actually make your own class, there are a selection of different loadouts. You've got like assault, support, health, recon, etc. But basically on your wheel you have different perks. So the top one is typically a mystical, and mysticals are these sort of fancy looking power-ups. So for example the one you saw in the trailer where you drop down this big totem and it homes in and kills people. The interesting thing with that is it's not actually as strong as they made it seem. It doesn't necessarily one hit and home in on people, so that's what I mean by it's not super unbalanced. But you've also got other things like my personal favourite, the one that Sport has. It's effectively a sonar or like a radar or ping. You drop it down, acts like a UAV, reveals the location of everyone on the map, which means it's super good for going around corners and working out where your enemies are. On top of that, you also have things like sidekicks. So you have like a medic who will follow you around and try and keep you healed. You'll have a sniper who will try and pick people off from a distance. You have a heavy machine gun guy who will obviously try and mow people down, and you also have a brawler who will basically run in and grapple someone and give you a chance to take them out. On top of that, you also have heavy weapons, and you also have gear, which is things like mines, grenades, health packs, etc. So that's pretty much how it works. And the whole sort of flow of combat revolves around obviously killing people, getting money, using that money to then buy these perks to get more kills, and then of course repeating the cycle. So I suppose you could see it more like kill streaks, but either way, it actually works really, really well. It actually got to the point where when I first started playing, I thought, you know what? I want to grab the mystical totem. I mean, it looks awesome. Drop it down, it's going to be killing everyone. Job done. Wrong. That is not what happened. It actually ends up being one of those things where people see the totem and they're like, you know what? No, I don't want to be there, so I'll run away, go the other way, avoid the area, and generally speaking, that item actually wasn't that effective. What I actually ended up doing was going support and using the staff, which acts like a UAV, like the one I mentioned before, pings up, shows you around the map, really helps your team out, and plus it's just super good for getting killed. Because ultimately, the game feels really good. I mean, you never go into Uncharted multiplayer, or at least myself personally, I've never gone into Uncharted multiplayer with a super like hardcore MLG mindset. You know, I don't go in thinking I need to get my KD perfect, I need to be top of the leaderboard. I go into Uncharted because I like the universe, I enjoy the characters, I enjoy the setting, and just in general it's a lot of fun to play. It's a much more kind of casual or arcadey experience than jumping into something like, say, Call of Duty, but personally that's something I really enjoy. When it comes to shooters online, be it third person or first person, personally I just like to have a lot of fun. I'm not one of those kind of super hardcore people. I will of course still try and win, but let's be honest, it's just more about having fun. The one thing I've always liked about Uncharted multiplayer is how well the single player translates to a multiplayer experience. I mean, often you find some games that say typically work really well as a single player game, and they try and tackle multiplayer, sometimes it just doesn't really work, whereas Uncharted, it just feels like you're playing the single player experience. From all the climbing to the combat to the weapons and everything like that. I mean, of course, if you played Uncharted multiplayer before, this is nothing new. But if you haven't and you do enjoy the single player, then definitely check out the multiplayer. It's one of those things where if you sit down with friends and you kind of like jump in as a team, you're going to have a hell of a lot of fun. Also, a couple of tips while I'm at it, just ahead of the beta. If you guys are going into it, 2 things you want to bear in mind. 1, the M30 is the best gun. It destroys everyone. Some of the other guns, I went through trying them all out, and I'll be honest, some of them weren't too good. Maybe it's just that I wasn't using them right, but either way, they just didn't seem to have the same firepower, they just didn't seem to have the same range, and they just weren't really doing the job. But the M30 is a single shot gun, so of course you need to spam that trigger, but it is a powerhouse and you will generally win your gun battles. So if you're looking for an easy way to win the game and get some credits, that is the gun for you. And on top of that, the other thing you want to check out, it's a little bit hit and miss, but the ability to swing around, because that's one of the new things in this multiplayer. You've got the grappling hook where you can basically grapple onto certain parts of the area, you can swing around and either use it to just traverse the level, or you can use it to try and get a really cheeky kill. If you're above someone and you see the square prompt while you're swinging, you'll basically jump off and you'll punch them on the head. The annoying thing about that, it's a little bit hard to land because sometimes the X prompt doesn't home in properly, so someone will be running and you'll land down behind them, which is a little bit anticlimactic. But if you do get it right, it is one of the most satisfying things. In fact, while I was at the event, I was playing with loads of other YouTubers like Jack Frags, Mr. Pro Westy, Game Riot, and it got to the point where we were just swinging around trying to get kills on each other with that square prompt, because it is super satisfying when you do land it, but it is a little bit tricky. It's also probably going to be one of those things that will get you killed more often than not, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend going around trying to do it, but if you can do it, it's a lot of fun. And aside from that, that's pretty much it. So in short, when asking what is Uncharted 4 multiplayer's beta saying, the answer is, it's saying a lot. It's a casual experience, it's a fun experience, it's an arcade experience, but if you go into it with the right mindset and you go into it just to have fun, then you will definitely enjoy it. Sure, if you go into it looking for a hardcore experience, then you might be feeling left a little bit underwhelmed, but go into it with the right attitude and you'll get a lot out of it. And that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then drop some support, drop a like down below. It really helps other people see this video. And also, given this is a new series, it's kind of what's it saying thing, it's really nice to sort of see your support on this, because of course this is something I want to do more of, just kind of a chance for me to just put my opinions out there and sort of let you guys know. So, thanks again for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.